Hi guys, welcome back to another reaction video here on Our Eyes Your Eyes. I'm ready to watch episode 5 of season 2 of Made in Abyss. But before starting this video, I just want to remind you to subscribe to the channel, click on the notification bell, leave a like to support me, and join me because I need the support in this adventure. Okay, in the previous episode, we saw that Nanachi is meeting Mitty for the first time after what happened, and I'm speechless still. Plus, follow me in the commentary because I'm going to talk about what I made as a mistake in the previous episode and all the things that I will get in touch with this episode. So let's see what's going to happen. Anyway, are you ready to join me with these? Check it out. Oh my. Oh no. Eternal peace. Oh no. Yeah, that's that creature that we saw. And maybe you're worried because something is about to happen and that it will worry you, Reg. Oh, here we go. Oh no, but yeah, but can we use the incinerator? Yeah. Maybe you can use the incinerator, Reg. Oh. Yeah, it's a sort of a dragon. I told you that like that in the previous time we saw. Oh. No! Eh? What? Ah, yeah, because on the note. Okay, okay. What's that? Who's the? Ah, it's one of the robotic. Yeah, next to Fapta. Yeah. They saved him. But they saved him. Yes, why did they save him? What? Who is that person if... Exactly. He wants to help him as if he knows him so well. I mean... And that's a sort of incinerator. It seems so. I mean, it seems the same thing, more or less. What the F? Yeah, exactly. I think it was from Fapta, but what if it was from these robotic creature? Yeah, we understood that. Because he doesn't remember. That's why he was not searching for her. Tell us. Oh, so he doesn't know him. Uh-huh. Maybe, or being killed, I mean, being destroyed. So he's also an interference unit. I mean, Reg is like one of them. Oh no, we want to know. So in fact, all the data of Reg are removed. I mean, he lost them because he doesn't remember. Vasukian. Uh, Not so much. Iruburu is the name of the village, right? At this point. Oh. Ah. See you later. So it means they will meet again, of course. But wow, Rico as always. Oh, it's harder than Japanese kanji. Eh, exactly. And the other 50%? Ah. 10% mother! Oh my. Wow, Rico is the perfect person to learn this language so they can communicate. Uh-huh. She will. I hope that too. Oh, what does that mean? Oh no. It's yeah, it's forbidden. Oh no, 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 but they didn't go there. Exciting but dangerous and scary because she's alone. I mean, she's with the Matk and with the Mania, but she's going downstairs. How can she understand if there's a force field or not? Shouldn't be when you go up. Oh no, 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 we are approaching something terrible. Oh no, she's going to approach Weko. I think she's going to approach Weko because Weko was surrounded by these. And they are the same things of the balancing thing, right? That's why Mako is scared. I think all the tunnels will take to the same place, maybe. Oh, Weko! What is she saying? That's Weko. I told you that. Oh no, F-Ray. No, she was the sacrifice. She is, in fact. What's going to happen to you if you say something strange? Uh, no. Where do... Okay. Yeah. And maybe when she sings, she's making the balancing. To investigate, to find her friends back. Eh. Oh, she also knows Reg. Yeah. It seems that she knows even Nanachi. Oh, okay. But how can she know? We still don't know. But she's creating the balancing, so. Exactly. Oh my. That's fucked up. Who sealed you? Oh yeah. It's the same thing that happened with the Bondordo. Maybe Bondordo sent the children here. Oh! Wow! Rico! Maybe you released something unbelievably bad. Oh no, why Mako is throwing up? So that was a child. All of them are children. Ah, yeah, because they were saying if they are part of the village, they are going to suffer. Oh my. That's the first time she's seeing it after lots of time, yeah. Um. Uh, the luring. What does that mean? Where Nanachi is. Yeah. She can sense them, in fact. Why? Okay, I think that the Belaf and the Vasukian, they put the Weko over there. Yes! I think that that's why they get scared. I mean, she gets scared because of these two sages, I think. I mean, she was a sacrifice, then she was put over there by them to create all this mess. Oh no, F away. What does that mean, Hadi? I mean, Belaf. Oh, she wants. Nanate. What? No! I told you. No, Nanachi. Oh, no, 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 no. What's a Haku? What's a Haku? Oh, okay. So Nanachi saved her. Oh no. She sacrificed herself. Miti. Oh yes, like that time. Oh yes, she saved her. Bondordo. Bondordo. How could, how could he bring Miti over there? So what did he do? How? Oh. No, Rico. No, I don't think. Oh, yeah. Oh no. No. No, no, Rico. No, Rico, no. No, Rico, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. Okay, guys, I think that this will be the longest analysis that I have ever made for an episode, except for Shingeki no Kyojin, because over there I made my record of 4 hours, I mean, no, 12 hours for an episode, so I don't think it will happen this time, but I wanted to start with the things that I made a mistake in the previous episode, commentary, because I have noticed that after I was telling you some things regarding what happened even in the past regarding season 1 and whatsoever, I was making some mistakes, and then I decided to go back and watch everything that I said, and yeah, some things were wrong. First of all, thanks to the comment that one of the subscribers wrote in the other videos down below, because I have noticed that I made a mistake when they were talking about a human child, hollow child. At that point, I thought that it was the same person. I mean, I thought that when they were talking about a human child, a hollow child, they were referring to Rico, do you remember? And then in the comment section, I was talking to a subscriber who was saying, no, look, human child should be Rico and hollow child should be Nanachi. And thinking more about what happened, yes, you are right, so sorry that I made a mistake, and in fact, we are talking about two different people. One is Rico and one is Nanachi. One is considered the human child because, of course, she didn't transform into a hollow, and on the other side we have a Nanachi who is already a hollow, as we all know. So after this huge mistake, I could rewatch the previous episode, and now everything is clear, because of course we know that Faputa intended both of them and not just one, plus she was talking about even Nanachi, because in the drawing we know that she made a mark, she made a symbol, not just for Rico but also to Nanachi. So that mistake is over. Thank you so much for telling me when I'm making a mistake, because I always appreciate that. Of course, without spoilers, thank you in advance. The second mistake that I made was regarding Rico and Eliza's pregnancy, because I was telling you, look, Rico was born inside the abyss, blah 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 blah. I was making a mistake, of course, because we know by going back in season 1, as much as I did, Rico was not born in the abyss, but she was born before Liza descending the abyss, and then of course I made another mistake regarding the relic, because I was telling you that she was confined inside this relic so they could ascend the abyss and she was surviving, but actually Rico was put inside that relic to be alive once again, because she lost her life, and once she went inside that relic she could regain life. So there were two mistakes in one. But anyway, yeah, I thought sincerely in the previous episode, I really thought that Rico was born in the abyss, because I had this image while they were having that flashback of Liza together with Rico's father, and I was sure that everything happened over there during that adventure, but I was wrong, because they had Rico previously and then they decided to bring her inside the abyss together with them. So, okay, that decision was so bad, but at the same time, I can agree with Eliza, because I also could have never separated from my child. So that's why I think that somehow she made a great choice. And at the same time it was wrong, because Rico lost her life and she could regain it thanks to the relic. Thank you so much, relic, because thanks to that Rico is still alive. But we will talk about this later, because even in this episode I noticed some things regarding the importance of Rico and the fact that she was saved, and the miracle that she was saved that maybe caused some troubles over there. Let's see what's going to happen. And then last but not least, I made a mistake when I was telling you that I couldn't understand if that was the real Mitty or that was the creature we saw in episode 1 of season 2. Do you remember that pinkish creature that we see at the end of it when this Genja group reaches this golden city? And I was wrong in this case too, because I even stopped the frame, to be honest, when I went back watching episode 1 of this new season, because by being pink I thought, okay, look, at this point she seems like Mitty, and that's why I thought that that was her. But I think that I was making a mistake, because that's not Mitty, and that creature was something else. And I also noticed that this creature, this pinkish creature that the Genja group found, it had even the white whistle. I mean, I could see this white whistle next to her, next to this creature, and it made me understand that that was not Mitty, of course, because Mitty has never had a white whistle, and also because the shape was pretty different. Even because Mitty has these big eyes, while this creature at the end of episode 1, it doesn't have eyes at all. But anyway, it's so nice, as much as I was telling you in the comment that I left below this previous episode, it's really nice to try to find the mistakes you have made so far and try to repeat them, try to rewrite them, try to reanalyze the things that are happening in this story. So even in this case, even in this episode, if I'm making a mistake, please let me know, because I really wanted to say real things and not the stupid things. So sometimes it happens that I'm saying things that are wrong and I can recognize them by myself, but at the same time sometimes it doesn't happen. So thank you so much for the support, and thank you for helping me as always. I don't think that I made a mistake about Reg, sincerely, because Reg is a mysterious character, and thanks to this episode we are getting in touch with the new info. So I think that I'm going to explore this episode from now on. And look guys, this time I made notes, and some other stuff that I want to tell you is that I will analyze scene after scene, because otherwise it's really hard for me to remember everything, because even this episode was full of details, full of important information, and we needed to analyze all of them precisely. That's what I really like to do, especially with the stories like Made in Abyss. First of all, in the first scene of this episode, we see that Nanachi found Mitty as much as we saw in the previous episode, and the thing is that Belaf is getting in touch with Nanachi, and it's asking Nanachi, what are you doing here? What do you want to achieve? What do you want to gain somehow? And look, of course, we know the deep relationship that there was between Nanachi and Mitty, and I really remember Nanachi's pain when Mitty was burnt. The way in which she was feeling really guilty, but at the same time she felt relieved because she could release Mitty from all the pain she felt, and from the fact that by becoming a hollow she couldn't go back as before, as much as Nanachi, for example, because we know that Nanachi, even if she turned into a hollow, she could have had the chance to stay more human than her, and that's because of the love Mitty was feeling for her and the fact that she always wanted to protect her and whatsoever. So I think that Nanachi has always felt really guilty, because if Nanachi was not there, probably Mitty could have saved herself somehow. And at the same time, she was feeling maybe even guilty because she was relieved by releasing her. I mean, so many painful things that happened to Nanachi, and we know that as soon as she approached Mitty in this previous episode, she was astonished, terrorized, simply surprised, and she couldn't even imagine why Mitty was there. And in fact, in the previous episode, I was guessing so many things, but I was wrong. I mean, no, I was partially right when I told you that Bondorudo Rico was involved in this, but I have never imagined that everything happened like this. So anyway, that was a great scene, really emotional, and we know how Mitty was essential to Nanachi, especially in the period in which they stayed together and they spent time together while reaching that layer where Bondorudo was. So I think that that was really nice to see this way in which they could re-meet somehow, even if we know that from now on things will get worse, and that's Made in Abyss, we know that. I also open a bracket regarding the previous episode because usually I like to analyze even the title of the episode, and I think that that's really essential because we need to know that sometimes titles are getting in touch with the episode itself. It's like when in poetry the title of a poem regards what's inside, and it's like a sort of a hint that it's connecting throughout the episode, and that's happened even in the previous episode, because the previous episode's title was Friend, and we know that Reg, Rico and Nanachi are great friends, but they were split this time into 3 parts. So both in this episode and in the previous one they are separated and they are following their own instincts and they are doing their own stuff, but each of them is connected to a new friend somehow, or a past friend, or someone that is super important to one of them. So in the case of Rico, for example, she's meeting Ma-kun or Ma-san in this episode, and we know that it's thanks to Ma-san that Rico was saved. Otherwise she would have been captured by all these other hollows who wanted to gain her somehow. And that's why I was thinking about this importance of the human child that I already explained in the previous episode. While Nanachi, she's finding Mitty once again, and we know how important Mitty was for Nanachi. Regarding Reg, we see that he is finding Faputa back, and we know that there is a sort of a connection between Faputa and Reg that I still have to understand clearly, because I don't know if we are talking about best friends, I don't know if we are talking about brother and sister, as much as I was telling you, or another example, it could be that we don't know if Reg and Faputa, they were boyfriend and girlfriend. I mean, there are these 3 options, definitely, and we needed to know more about these. I really liked the fact that this theme of a friendship, it's like as if friends can be reconnected somehow, but these reconnections can drive you to something even worse, or they can take you to a path that you have never expected before. Maybe you think that you're happy and these later can turn into the worst nightmare. So I think that a friend in this case can mean something really positive, really nice, but at the same time it can start being something really dangerous. So I really like that in Made in Abyss everything is not obvious. I mean, when you think about a friend, you think that it's something great, but what if the friends that you had can turn into something crazy? We still have to think about that. But definitely, yeah, I really like that there's a connection between the 3 characters we saw and these other 3 entities or hollows or friends that we are seeing appearing once again in their lives. And as much as I was telling you, we needed to understand how these relationships will go ahead, because in the case of Nanachi and Mitty, everything can be so great until we reach the end of this episode in which everything is explained. But in the case of Faputa and Reg, are they going to become great friends once again? Or is there something else that is creating a mess and everything is over forever? What about Rico and Ma-kun? I mean, Ma-kun, Ma-san, whatever. We don't know anything about these Ma-san, but the only thing we know is that every time a Ma-san wants to stay next to Rico, no matter what, as if he or she is attracted by Rico and her presence, and she's also rescuing her. And I want to open a bracket because I don't remember if I told you in the previous commentary, but Ma-san could be there once again. I mean, we know that thanks to these balancing procedure, it's like as if she was cut it into pieces and gave all these pieces to the other hollows that they could eat her, right? Or him, because we still don't know if Ma-san was a boy or a girl before becoming a hollow, but then we saw her reappearing. And does this mean that everything that we see here, it's like in the case of Mitty, that she's immortal and no matter how many times you try to destroy her, she's going to survive? Because I was really surprised in the previous episode that we could see these. I mean, we could see that Ma-san was back saving Riko, especially after what happened with the balancing thing previously. So that was really crazy, and that's why I'm saying, is it something benevolent, the fact that Riko met Ma-san, or not? We needed to understand more, even if in this episode it seems that everything was simply fine, and it was also thanks to Ma-san that Riko could reach some places, and Riko didn't feel alone, feel lonely as much as for what happens when Riko is alone without anybody else. So Ma-san, thank you so much. And then we proceed with another scene that I think it's really important, and it regards Reg, because we see that Reg is followed somehow by this dragon creature, and we know that he is attacked by it. So we needed to understand this relation between Reg and this creature, because it seemed as if this creature was pretty intelligent, as if, yes, even Reg is saying it, I guess, that it can detect where he is or something, and it's trying to capture him somehow. And at the same time, Reg is even so worried about the petals that I was already announcing you in the previous commentary. And I think that these petals, as much as I was telling you, can be something important, that it's regarding something good, like a celebration, as much as Reg himself was saying. But they are also used for funerals. And I was already telling you, look, what if these petals are announcing that something bad is about to happen, or at the same time, it can announce the fact that so many people died, that so many people were sacrificed in order to reach this layer of the abyss. So I think Reg is always thinking about these petals, because in season 1 we saw that he was keep thinking about that area in which Liza was over, and that's what we know in season 1, but then later we might think that Liza is still alive. So I think that these petals are super important, and they have a specific meaning. So the fact that Reg keeps thinking about them is because, of course, he doesn't remember anything. But second of all, maybe there is another deeper meaning that we still don't know. So we needed to go ahead and follow these. But I really like that every time the author wants to focus on Reg, because I think that Reg is the most mysterious character of this story. We know that everything is surrounding this character, that we don't know where he's coming from, and we need to know why he wasn't getting in touch with Liza. Were they friends, were they enemies, what happened to him later, and why is he rescuing Riko so much? I mean, so many things, but most of all, we don't know where he comes from. And in this episode it was so nice when little by little they were telling us more details about Reg. Anyway, Reg is trying to confront this creature, and yes, in one frame there is Reg who's saying, by remembering what Liza wrote in her notes, Liza, why didn't you write this ability of this creature? Because while he is attacked, this creature can spread this liquid, this thing that is connected to a stone or to rocks. I mean, we know that it's pretty particular. And yeah, at the beginning of this story, when we saw the same creature, I was telling you, look, it's like a dragon. And in fact, here Reg in this episode was calling it like a dragon. But anyway, when he was talking to Liza in this episode for a second, I was like, wow, he is talking about Liza as if he really knew her well, and as if he's talking about a friend. Look, it's like when we are remembering something that our friend told us, and then we say, oh, come on, why you didn't tell me that there was even this dangerous thing happening? I mean, the way in which Reg was talking about Liza, it seemed as if it was too colloquial. I mean, as if they were really friends, or as if Reg knew her so well. Sometimes it happens, things like this. I mean, unconsciously speaking, you know things about a person that with your consciousness you're still not able to remember anything, and you just have this instinct to talk to a person even if you know the relation you had with her, especially if you lost your memories. So I think that was really nice, even if it was just a frame. I think that it was really interesting to see how Reg was interacting indirectly with Liza like that. By the way, while he's trying to go away and to run away from the creature, one of these robotic humanoids was saving Reg, and that was really strange because now more than ever you saw what I was already announcing you in the previous episode. That means that these robotic figures have these robotic arms as much as Reg has, even if later in this episode we understand that they are a little bit different from Reg, but it seemed as if they are belonging to the same humanoids, to the same creatures. I don't even know how to describe them, but it was nice to see that this figure was rescuing Reg, because at the beginning I thought that by being next to Faputa was an enemy and they were against him. As much as we see these humanoid figures even when the Genja group arrived. Okay, they are not the same probably, but we saw some of them. So at the beginning I thought, okay, they are enemies, they are not somebody or something related maybe to one of the characters, but later in this episode we understand that there is probably a sort of a conjunction between Reg and them. And in fact this robotic figure knows Reg's language, he is guiding Reg in the right direction, so it doesn't seem an enemy at all. It just seems as if he wants to protect him or he wants to avoid something bad happening. And in fact he is also saying, if you are around here, this place is going to be ruined, I had to stop you, or something like that. I mean, what does this mean? Because we know that Reg has an importance in this story, but as much as I was telling you, we don't know how important he is. And what does this mean? I mean, the fact that he is over there and he is stepping maybe on an area that it's forbidden for him, it can cause a trauma in that area, it can cause a destruction. So you understand that Reg's position is quite important, and it can create new things. It can make different things in that sort of environment. And this robotic figure is also saying, I can't find a way to stop Faputa, because immediately after when Riko was meeting Ueko, we see that Ueko is having a sort of a flashback of the birth of Faputa as we know her now, and she seemed to be really evil. So I think that even if Faputa has moments maybe in which she can remember or she can talk as if nothing happened, while in other moments she is transformed into this evil character, where we understand that the character itself doesn't remember what's going to happen, what is she doing. It's like there is this sort of a dualism. But the fact that this robotic creature confirmed that Faputa was making those two creatures, and that they were having the bots closed, let's say, that sort of a ritual. And this robotic figure is saying that Faputa was making it in order to protect them by mixing her hair with Riko's hair and Nanachi's skin, do you remember? But nothing was said about Reg. And in fact, even this robotic figure is saying that Faputa was just trying to test Reg, because she didn't understand if that was the Reg she knew, or if it was just a copy, or if it was just somebody else. But the fact that Reg didn't even search for her, that was surprising Faputa. And in fact, when they were meeting, the first thing that Faputa said is, "Are you Reg for real? Don't you remember me?" I mean, something like that, as if, yeah, she was surprised for the fact that Reg lost his memories somehow, and that's why she was testing him, and that's why there were these symbols on Rico and the Nanachi and probably nothing on Reg, because that was part of the test, or because, as much as I was telling you, one is the hollow child and the other one is the human child. So Reg, she knew him, so there was no need to make any sort of a mark on him. But we also know that Reg didn't search for her because he doesn't remember. So we needed to know why Faputa hoped that he was searching for her. Is it because they are friends? Is it because they are relatives? Is it because they are boyfriend and girlfriend? Is it because, anyway, Reg protected her somehow? Or is it because he was causing a trouble and that's why Faputa was created in that way? I mean, we don't know. We still have to go ahead with the episodes because I'm just guessing. But it's really interesting to dig and try to find answers, even if some of them might be wrong, right, whatsoever. But then we get in touch with an important info that this robotic figure is telling Reg. And this info is that Reg is an interference unit member. I mean, an interference unit. What does that mean? Because if we translate interference, it means someone who wants to bother you, someone who wants to stop you to do what you're usually doing, or anyway, something that can create an interference, something that can disconnect the things you're doing, or something that is interrupting things on purpose and whatsoever. So both of these robotic figures and even the Reg are interference units, but the most important info that was given here is that each layer has these interference units, and they are different. Layer after layer, they have some data collection that is different than others, they have some abilities that others don't have, etc, etc. So the more you go down, the more you, as an interference unit, can improve your knowledge by touching, by observing. And in fact, this robotic figure was saying that interference unit means that by touching and by observing you can reach knowledge, and that's what they are doing actually. So each layer is having these units, and each layer has maybe a level of knowledge that other levels can't reach. And that's why Reg, for example, we know from what I understood, maybe I'm wrong once again, but Reg should come from the bottom of the abyss. So even this robotic figure was saying, look, you can jump here and there, you can go from one layer to the other one without a problem. So I think that Reg maybe might be the absolute form of this interference unit, in which you see that Reg has a specific power that others don't have. And in fact, the more Reg is asking questions about himself, about what's these interference units, this robotic figure is answering, look, I don't know, because we have different data, we have different layers, and we have different abilities or different characteristics, so I can't answer to all of your questions. And another thing is that this robotic figure said that these interference units were put by somebody in each layer. And in fact, later, Reg and this figure are talking about the creator of everything. And of course, this creator put them in each layer, and with the different characteristics, with the different abilities and whatsoever. But at this point, I'm wondering who's the creator? That's another great question that we still don't know. I mean, we don't know the answer, because we just know that more than 2,000 years before, I think 6,000, 9,000, I don't remember right now the exact number, but we know that many thousands years before this abyss was created, but we don't know by whom it was created. And that's another important question that I think that throughout these episodes we forgot to ask ourselves, but it was really nice to see that in this episode this question was coming back again, because we definitely needed to know who created these abyss, what created these units of figures, of creatures that are on each level, and maybe they are trying to stop you. I mean, it's like as if, okay, let's make an example. Rico, Shiggy, and Natto, who are cave raiders, wanted to go deep down inside the abyss, and layer after layer they are finding some interference unit who wants to stop them, who don't want them to proceed. Maybe even Bondoro, though he is an interference unit. And in fact, we know that next to Bondoro, there are some other robotic figures that we saw even in the movie. And are they interference units too? And in fact, if that's so, Bondoro wanted to stop Rico, Nanachi, and Reg from their journey throughout the abyss until he gave up and they could start the last dive. But yeah, it's like as if every time these interference units, they wanted to stop the people who are trying to go deep inside the abyss. That's why I'm saying the creator of these interference unit is the same creator of the abyss, or they are two different things, because that's another interesting question to ask. Are these two figures related or not? Because if one is the creator of the abyss and another one is the creator of these interference units, we need to understand why these interference units were created, for what purpose, why people had to be stopped, maybe in order to go deep inside the abyss. What was the purpose? Does this mean that nobody can go deep inside the abyss because otherwise they are going to understand all the secrets regarding this abyss, and only the interference units deserve to know what's happening, also because the more they touch, the more they observe, the more they gain knowledge. So maybe they are envious of all the people who are trying to infiltrate and discover the secrets. So even these secrets are no more secrets, because you need to know that when people have secrets, they feel super powerful, as much as I was telling you many times, even regarding this season 2. So what if Rico one day will be able to discover all the secrets regarding the abyss? At that time, in that moment, all these interference units are no more important, and all the knowledge they collected is over. I mean, they don't have the same authority as before. So at this point, who created these units? And who created the abyss? What created the abyss? Because it might have been even a catastrophe. It might have been even a natural catastrophe, or a meteor, or something else. Or was the abyss created by humanity or by ancient cultures? How this abyss was created, and who were the people who took this as an advantage to create dramatic events later? As much as we saw in this season 2, but even in many other stories, human beings are selfish, and like it was said in this episode, they are greedy, because the more they have, the more they want. And I think that that's why even this abyss was collecting lots of troublesome events and lots of things happening, because of all of these people who were trying to become better than others, who were becoming superior than others by creating this authority as creators of the village, like the three sages. But even what's happening even later, because maybe after this 6th layer, there's something happening even more disgusting that is waiting for us. So we needed to go ahead. But definitely, this amazes me, because everyone can be the creator of the abyss at this point. Everyone can be the creator of these interference units. And look, I don't know. I don't think it's Liza, because Liza descended the abyss later after. So maybe it's somebody we still have to meet, or maybe it's somebody we have already met, but we didn't know his or her importance at this point. There are so many secrets, but just for now, we know that somebody created these units. Somebody created them, maybe, by making experiments on their arms, by making them become humanoids. I mean, there's a creator, but is this creator the same creator of the Abyss, or are there two different things? That's a great question mark. And connected with what I was telling you right now with these units, that they can't move from one layer to the other one, or that each layer has its own units, and maybe if you move from one layer to the other one you can create a mess. Maybe it's also that the reason why Reg was trying to be caught by this creature like a dragon, because if Reg is found over there, it can create destruction about that area, because he was jumping from one layer to the other one and he was not supposed to do so. I mean, from what this robotic creature is saying, each layer of the Abyss should have its own unit, and they shouldn't be exchanged because maybe of the power they have, because of the importance they have, because of the knowledge they collected, and even the data they were collecting inside their brains. So I think that maybe that's why this robotic figure is also telling Reg, look, I had to remove you from there because otherwise the village would have been destroyed, or the area surrounding the village, because the village is on the other side, can be destroyed by your presence. So yeah, what if everything is connected, even for the fact that Reg is an interference unit member and he shouldn't go there because it's not his place, maybe. Another thing that this unit is saying is that there was a moment in which they couldn't communicate anymore. I mean, between one layer and the other, one of these interference units were not able to communicate anymore. What happened? Was there an accident, or was there something that was not supposed to happen? Like in the case, for example, of Rico, that she lost her life in the Abyss, but thanks to the relic she could have regained that life she lost. I mean, is there something connected to Liza, for example, and that's why the communication was stopped, and that's why maybe even Reg had this sort of amnesia in which he lost completely all his memories, and that's why he can't remember about Faputa, he can't remember about Liza. What was the connection between the two? What happened to Faputa? Is it because of him and whatsoever? I mean, is it because of Liza that there was this losing thing, this loss of communication between these units, between all the layers? And in fact, we know that Reg doesn't remember anything, but we know that he had some flashback with Liza. So does this mean that Liza was the one who was interrupting everything somehow? Maybe she didn't even want to do that, but by chance, by discovering something, there was a way for her to interrupt this communication. Did something else happen? For example, was that even Bondorudo who decided to go to the lower level, and by doing this there was an interference between interference units data, and he disconnected everything as before? I mean, there are so many options in this story, and we will never know the truth until we reach the end of it, but that's so amazing, because the mysteries, instead of decreasing, are increasing, and that's why I love this story the most. Connecting myself with what I was telling you before, Reg and this other unit are not the same. He is also telling Reg this. We are not the same. We have some sort of amount of data that is totally different. But it seemed as if Reg was more special than him, and that's why he was suggesting him, please remember what you lost. I mean, try to remember the data you lost, because maybe it's thanks to that data that we can understand maybe who is the creator. Because when Reg was asking him, do you know who the creator is? He said, I don't know, but maybe Reg knows. So by being more popular, by being more important, by residing in a part of the Abyss that was even more important than the others, and by having a sort of knowledge, maybe he could have found even who the creator was. Oh, look guys, what if Reg is the creator of these interference units? I mean, what if he seems so small and he seems like a child, but yeah, maybe he is the one who created all this mess? It could be, or it couldn't be, of course, but I'm just giving you some options because definitely there is something wrong here, especially because Reg is a child too, and we know that some experiments were made on him. And we know that the more we go deep down the abyss, the more they are focusing on kids, on children, and we needed to know why. I mean, is it because the children have a great energy that adults are losing, or is it because the children, yeah, they can be a source of energy, they can be so powerful, and they can be even so innocent that they can be tricked easily? Or what if the creator is different? I mean, what if at this point the creator is not the same for everyone, but each layer has its own creator? That could be possible too, but to be honest, I prefer to think that there is one creator, the one and only, who created all these mess that we are experiencing right now. Then another thing that was confirmed in this episode once again is that the three sages created the village in which Rico, Reg and Nanachi are finding themselves. And as I was telling you in the previous commentary, one sage is Vasukian, one sage is Belaf, and the third should be Weko, because in the first episode of this second season, I remember that Belaf was saying, I remember that Weko is saying to Belaf, you wanted to turn me into the third sage or something. So is Weko the third sage, or Weko was supposed to be the third sage, but by protesting regarding the creation of this village, she was replaced and the third sage is somebody else? That could be possible too. And in fact, we still have to know if she will confess to be the third sage, because even when she's meeting with Rico, she's not saying anything. I mean, she's not saying, look, I'm the third sage, and I am one of the creator of this village. No, she's not saying anything. So it's like as if maybe the chance that I told you 3 seconds ago might be possible. But anyway, let's stay tuned and keep on watching. Going back to Rico and Vasukian, we know that they are meeting over there while Rico is eating. And as soon as Vasukian is listening from Rico the fact that she's a cave raider, she's a white whistle, etc., etc., it's like as if Vasukian is super happy to hear things like this. First of all, because she's a human child, and we know that human child are well weighted over there, let's say, because they are the most precious things for them. But at the same time, I got the feeling as if Vasukian, as soon as he heard that she's a white whistle, he was like, oh, okay, wait, then she's also a cave raider. As much as I was telling you a few minutes ago, I'm thinking, what if these kids who were cave raiders were only used to be sacrificed, to go ahead with the persecutions that were made inside of the abyss and whatsoever. They were even stopped by these interference units. I mean, what if this is all a plan made by the creator to use these kids? But I still don't understand the purpose of the abyss. I mean, the main one. Because if the abyss was created by the same person who created these units, it makes you understand that first the creator wanted to create the abyss, then to create these units, then to have the supremacy of knowledge so nobody could reach it entirely, and who was even trying to do so. They were sacrificed, they were made experiments on them, etc., 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 to increase this knowledge, unbeatable and unreachable knowledge. Or is there another mystery that we don't know and we will never know, probably? Let's stay tuned and keep on watching also for that. But another thing that I like about Rico is that she wants to know the language. She wants to get in touch with the language of the place, otherwise she is not able to go ahead and to communicate with others. This is a great thing, and I think she took this characteristic from Liza, because Rico is the perfect example of the cave raider, the one who is an explorer, the one who is amazed by the adventure, the one who wants to learn a lot. And we know that she always wanted to get in touch with the different relics, she wanted to get info, she wanted to analyze the notes of her mom. I mean, she is the girl who is handling this adventure for real, because now that she and Regularly are following her in this mission, and sometimes they are reluctant. But in the case of Rico, Rico really wants to explore, really wants to go deep inside this adventure, and she doesn't care about the risks. She wants to reach the goal. So I really like this character. But as soon as we got in touch with the language that they are having, look, it reminded me of the Japanese or Chinese kanji, that they have so many symbols, and at the same time each symbol can mean something else depending on the other kanji you have next. So I think the author wanted to find this connection with the kanji too. But the amazing thing is that talking about this probability of different words, of different meanings, that's so awesome, because you saw that each symbol has a percentage of different meanings, and that's scary, because what if this language was so tricky? Because the more you are thinking that a symbol means something, the more maybe you're making a mistake and this symbol can mean something else. I mean, this Genji group who went down the abyss at the beginning and they got in touch with this language, I think Belaf didn't know the language 100%. I mean, maybe he knew some words, but maybe he didn't know the symbols. He didn't study this language completely, so what if he thought that he was communicating with these units, and later they were tricked because of the meaning, because maybe the units was thinking of a meaning and they were thinking of another meaning, and by matching there was no match. I mean, something bad happened that could create a curse. And in fact, we saw that even a certain symbol that was supposed to mean a village, it's not village only, it means something else. It can mean even cradle, and it can mean even mother. So wait a second, guys. I mean, we know that this village was created by the three sages, right? But if we check the other meanings, cradle and mother, what if cradle refers to Rico? Because she was a baby when she reached the bottom of the abyss, and then okay, she couldn't survive until she was put inside the relic, and she could re-survive. And what if mother in this case means Liza? So what if this village was created on top of a huge sacrifice that was made? Or what if Rico is the culprit of the creation of this village together with Liza? I mean, we don't know, sincerely. But the amazing thing is that by knowing this language, we know that all symbols have different meaning. The Genji group could have misunderstood what they were talking about, or what other things like this. So let's be sure of this, and it's a thanks to Rico that we got in touch even with this info. So the great thing is that Rico now, by knowing this, can't make the same mistakes as others maybe. I mean, while she is thinking about a specific meaning, she is using the symbol, and let's hope that the others who is going to communicate with her can understand that she wants to talk about that meaning specifically. So Iruburu means, as I was telling you, village, cradle, but even mother. So I wanted to understand if Eliza, for example, was called Iruburu, or Rico was called Iruburu as much as the village itself, because they have the same meaning. I mean, not Rico, because the cradle is the place where you put Rico, I mean, where you put a baby. But what if the relic that was used for Rico to regain life was called Iruburu? I don't remember, because in season 1 they were calling that relic in a certain way, but right now I don't remember its name. If you remember, write me here down below in your comments what that name is, because if it's Iruburu, it makes sense, for example, this connection. Then the same cook that is helping Rico to understand the language is saying, I can't wait to get my hands on a human child. That was creepy to say. I mean, even if she was saying something like this while she was talking to Rico, and Rico didn't even listen properly, in my opinion, because if I heard that sentence, I was like, oh, what the F are you saying, or what do you mean by that? But Rico is so innocent that she doesn't even mind that she's saying something like this. But from my point of view, does this mean that now that cook wants something in return because she was offering her help to Rico in order to understand the language? So what if now it should be Rico's turn to give her something, and that's why she hopes that the entire Rico can be hers? I mean, we know that in this layer of the Abyss, in this village, they always trade. If you want something, you have to give me something. So what if she was expecting from Rico a reward or something in return? We don't know, but that sentence was creeping me out, sincerely. It was so creepy. But then these cookies are talking about this forbidden area that is forbidden for all the villagers. For Rico, maybe it's not so forbidden because she's not part of that village, so she's a cave raider and maybe she can go deep inside of it. But the thing is that this hole is called Sacrifice Hole, and this already tells you many things. I mean, we understand that deep down there should be some sacrifices, or that some sacrifices were made over there, and later we understand that over there we find Weko, for example. But Weko is surrounded by these black shadows and sticky things that are surrounding her, as if, they are like a bad omen, as if they are the result of her sacrifice. But also the fact that these black shadows are keeping Weko company, because she's always alone. And these black shadows have even these yellow eyes that are detected, because I think that they are reflecting the fact that they are like condemned souls or cursed souls whatsoever. But this sacrifice hole has a specific name that it's called Within the Eye or something like that. Well, that's interesting because this for a second connects me to Mitty. Because if you remember in season 1, we know that Mitty was communicating through the eye. And especially when she was trying to save Rico, there was a moment in which Rico was like facing the eye of Mitty, and she could go through it. I mean, she could reach somehow, or she could develop a special connection, a special communication with Mitty within her eye. I mean, by creating this bond with her, thanks to the eye of Mitty. And that's why I was reconnecting for a second what I saw here, because as soon as I heard the name of this place, I was like, oh, what the F, that seemed what happened to Mitty. And in fact, in the case of Mitty, the only thing that was left to her, even after transforming into a hollow, were her eyes. And these eyes were so important, and it was the only way to communicate with the external world. And even if she was not listened, because do you remember there was a moment in which Mitty was trying to talk with the outside world, but nobody could reach her, and except for Rico, who was coming closer to her by reaching her eyes. And we see this even at the end of this episode when she is trying to communicate with Mitty once again. So I think that the power of eyes, as much as reconnecting with Weko's story, we know that within the eyes, it was even the moment in which Belaf and her were interacting, while even before reaching the Abyss, and Belaf was saying that Weko was beautiful because of her eyes, because inside her eyes she was collecting lots of darkness, and this darkness was well portrayed thanks to the eyes of hers. So I think that everything is connected. Even the name of the place connected with Weko, connected with everything that was told her. I mean, it was really, really nice, these connections. I really, really like that. Then we know that this area specifically doesn't have any force field, and in fact we know that on Weko there are no counter effects, and even on Riko there are no counter effects because she's not part of the village, while all the other hollows can be affected for real. They are not able to reach that place also for this, in my opinion, because once you reach that place, maybe even the hollow will be sacrificed. So who knows how many children were sacrificed while turning into hollows. Maybe they were curious hollows as much as when they are curious to gain a Riko, and they lost their lives, their existence. So I think that that place, well, smells like death, absolutely. Then, as soon as we approach Weko for the first time, after all this time that passed, and Riko is getting in touch with her, we see that Weko is connected by cables, by these black cables, by these connections somehow. Are these connections the connectors between her and the hollows? Because it's like as if she can send these black shadows around her when there is this balancing moment. I mean, is it her who is sending these sticky things, these sticky creatures with the yellow eyes where there is the balancing thing? So she is a sinner because she's creating this balancing thing, and she is condemning the hollows who want too much, who are too greedy. Also maybe because she was greedy first. So it's like a sort of a contrapasso, as much as I was telling you many times throughout these episodes. But we see these connectors, and for a second, even if it's not the same, but it reminded me of Nagato, because even Nagato in Naruto, he was connected while being pain. He was connected by these streamers of energy, and it's like as if Weko is experiencing the same, because both Nagato and Weko, they were confined inside an area, a specific area that was pretty dark, so Nagato couldn't see anything outside except for the fact that he was connected by these cables of energy, as much as Weko is connected by these black connectors that can let her feel, can let her sense things, but she can't see anything because she will never be able to go outside from that place because of her condemnation. So it's like as if, yeah, Weko is super powerful because she has this way to sense where the hollows are, and that's why she can create this balancing thing. But at the same time, she is not amazed anymore because she will never be able to watch anything outside from it. So this is a simple curse, guys. I mean, it's like a contrapasso, because the more you had it, the more you wanted, but now that everything is reversed, she's cursed forever, and she's confined forever, she can't have anything anymore, and she's just ruling this balancing thing. So this is extremely awesome, because I think at this point that the author of Made in Abyss loved Dante Alighieri. There is no other explanation. I mean, there are so many connections with the Divine Comedy here that we could stay here for hours, I guess, but we can't find the proper way to summarize all of them. It's like as if Weko is the mother of all the hollows because of these connections, and as much as I was telling you, this name of the village that can mean village, can be cradle, can be even mother. So what if all these meanings are simply Weko? Because Weko was maybe part of the creators of this village. She is confined into a sort of cradle, especially when she was a kid. I mean, when she joined the Genja group, she was a kid, and maybe this area in which she's confined now, she seems like a cradle, but at the same time, she is like a mother because she's connected with all the hollows. It's like as if this curse is ending just when somebody else is interrupting this connection with the hollows, as much as Riko did. So that's amazing. I mean, this could be an option too. Weko can be super essential in all these. And it can be even a great helper for Riko, Reg, and Nanachi, because maybe she can be the one who can save them somehow later, but maybe she has to sacrifice herself. So we needed to understand what's going to happen, but anyway, guys, something terrible will happen, so let's stay tuned and keep on watching anyway. The fact that she knows where the hollows are, I mean, she knows, she can sense them as much as she's sensing Nanachi, because she can understand that there's somebody with a Belaf in that moment, okay? Even if Nanachi is not connected to her, but she's a hollow, so she, by being the mother of a hollow, maybe, she can sense them, and no matter if she's attached by these cables or not. That's pretty interesting. But anyway, I think that these sticky figures that we see surrounding her, they are all the sacrifices that perished, or all the sacrifices that were condemned because of what she did when the village was created. I mean, so many mysteries happened here, and we still have to solve them, but let's go ahead. Then, every time in this episode we heard the word Hadi, but we don't understand what that means. Does this mean sorry? Because even when Weko is trying to talk to Riko for the first time, because it's been a long time since she talked to somebody else, she's always saying, Hadi, sorry. What does that mean? I mean, does this mean that Hadi means sorry? Because later even, I think Majikaja is saying Hadi to Riko because he took Nanachi inside Belaf's cave. So maybe, yeah, Hadi means sorry. I'm trying to understand the language. I mean, I'm interested too because I like languages, so that's really nice. Reconnecting 1 second with what I told you so far about these sticky figures, black shadows, etc., etc., Weko is saying that she is giving the names of these black shadows that are surrounding her. She is always singing, and she has lots of free time, of course, because she was confined over there. But when she says that she's singing, is that way to sing the same that we hear when there is the balancing thing? I mean, when we hear, do you remember in the previous episodes we heard a sort of a scream? Is this the moment in which Weko is singing or not? Now I have another idea. These cables that are connected from Weko's body to somewhere else, I think outside maybe, or it's directly connected to these sticky figures surrounding her. Is this a way for Weko to eat? I mean, we know that nobody else can go over there deep inside of this sacrifice hole. So what if she is eating during the balancing moment these hollows who are making a mistake? Or what if she's eating those black shadows surrounding her? But anyway, we know that she sings. What if when she sings, that's the same scream that we hear when there was the balancing moment? Because we heard a scream in previous episodes that was anticipating this balancing moment. So at that time when there was Ma-san, she was creating this balance because Ma-san wanted to steal Mania. And at the same time, she was the one at this point who was wrapping Ma-san into pieces, and other hollows can eat. What if in Weko she is feeding herself thanks to these shadows, and it's part of the curse? And what if, when she's singing, actually it's that scream that is anticipating the balancing moment, even if that balancing moment was happening even when these hollows were trying to put Riko into a trap to gain her, and then this balancing moment arrived and Riko was saved, even thanks to Ma-san. But okay, anyway, that's really interesting. Weko seems to be so nice, but at the same time, she can be even somebody evil. And that's why I really appreciated when Riko asked her, are you a good person? I mean, are you an evil person or something? Because the appearance can trick us, and we know that very well. Even if I told you that Weko has lots of free time, but she can sense things without watching them because she's confined, etc., etc. These, as much as she was represented somehow, she reminds me of a demon or an evil creature that wants to have these almighty power, and at the same time she reminds me like a goddess on the contrary, because usually even in mythology goddess or gods were represented as figures who were having lots of leisure time in which they were spending lots of free time eating, not doing anything, singing and whatsoever. So it can be a great contraposition, because as much as I was telling you, we don't understand if Weko is a good person or not, but later she's explaining us that she might be evil too. Yeah, I really like this contraposition between goddess and evil or demons, that can make sense anyway, because look guys, even if demons and gods are different because they represent these opposite that was created later once Lucifer disappointed God and was descending underground because God was creating this immense abyss. Demons are coming from God anyway. Demons are creature of God. So even Weko here, as I was telling you, she's representing this demon or this evil character who's doing everything that she's doing, as much as what she told us regarding the moment in which this village was created. But at the same time, she's having this sort of attitude over there, touching these shadows and saying that she's singing and she's having lots of free time, as if she's behaving like a goddess or something. The goddess of hell, that means female Lucifer or something like that. That's really interesting. Even the setting that was well represented here, because it's a cave, or I mean it's she's inside of a tunnel, but she's inside this black hole, but at the same time she's not surrounded by fire, she's not surrounded by the usual setting that we know that it's referring to Lucifer or to demons, to hell, as always. And even in this case she reminds me of the Divine Comedy, because when Dante and Virgilio they reached Lucifer, they were surrounded by ice. They were not surrounded by fire, and that was really crazy, because it was an immense experience. If you like this sort of stuff, you should read the Divine Comedy of Dante Alighieri or Paradise Lost by John Milton, because these two are the authors who are describing hell so well, in my opinion. I really like the setting, and there's a connection between Weko and the Hollows, or anyway, Weko and these black shadows surrounding her that are giving her a sort of authority anyway, somehow. Then another thing that I was surprised is when Riko was introducing herself to Weko, because as soon as Weko was listening the name Riko, did you see that she made a face like that? Of course, later, even when she heard Nanachi, Reg, I mean, these other two names, she felt really, really surprised and astonished somehow. But as soon as she heard Riko, she was petrified, as if she knew something about Riko, or she knew where she was coming from. Maybe she has met Liza too, or she knew that this human child lost her life, but then she could regain it thanks to a relic. I mean, we don't know, but Weko seemed super surprised as soon as she said Riko. Then, of course, she was also surprised because when she heard of Nanachi and Reg, she could sense Nanachi, of course, already, but she knows even Reg, because Reg was affiliated somehow to Faputa, and we know that Faputa was always together with her, and that's why she knows them pretty well, let's say. And we needed to know why she was surprised about Riko, because even surrounding Riko there is this aura of a mystery that is super amazing. And then she got a signal, about where Nanachi is, because as much as I was telling you, Nanachi is a hollow, and maybe for Weko it's super easy to find a hollow to catch it somehow, and she knows that she is together with the Belaf in this case. But we know more than ever that Weko is asking Riko's help to go out from that sort of cage she is into because of the curse that she's living, and it's always thanks to Riko. If you notice that Riko throughout this story, she is the one who's saving Nanachi. She is the one who's trying her best to save Prushka. She is the one to try to save Weko. I mean, she is like a savior. Riko has this important meaning in the story, in my opinion. She is the one who can set all things for better. And we know this because we already experienced it. Even the fact that Mitty couldn't survive because of her, I mean, because of the fact that once she was saved, Nanachi had to let Mitty go. I mean, anyway, she had a great attachment to all these characters, even with Ozen, who was really essential because Ozen was the best friend, let's say, of Liza. And even if Ozen at the beginning, she was reluctant to get in touch with her because she thought that she was a culprit because Liza lost her life. I mean, we don't know still that too, but we thought that Ozen didn't like Riko. But little by little, Riko could gain the trust of everyone. She was saving everyone. So, as I was telling you, Riko has a deep meaning in this story. And even in this case, she was the one to save Weko from there. And she was the one to release her after so much time that she was confined there. So that's why I'm saying I really hope that Weko can survive and she can join them. That would be awesome, because I don't think that it will be just the three of them, with Prushka and Mania and Mitty, I hope. But can Weko join her or join them for the rest of the journey? Let's see, because Weko knows many things. I mean, she was there since the Genja group reached this golden city, and it means that even Weko has a sort of knowledge by being the third sage in the case she is. And then, yes, we are reaching the moment of this important question. Are you a bad person or something? Weko is pretty honest, and I really like that. I mean, I think that Weko could have told her so many other stories, invented stories, but the good thing of this character is that she was always so innocent since the beginning, but at the same time, she preferred honesty, and that's what I really like about this character. So she's saying that, yeah, she might be evil, because when this village was created, it was created in a horrific way. That means something really disgusting happened, and we don't know what happened, of course, because they will explain us later, but I can imagine. I mean, while she's talking about her role in this story, in this creation of the village, there is always this flashback related to Faputa. So what if she was condemning Faputa, for example? She was sacrificing her for her sake, maybe because, look, in this episode, we understood that everyone is trying to reach his or her Haku. And I think Haku is the most important value, or the most important person, or the things that has the most important value in general. I mean, something that can be beaten by others, or something that nothing else can replace, okay? So what if even Weko tried her best to become something supernatural? She also said that she wanted to become something beyond human, and then it didn't happen because of course she was cursed, and also because she was pretty greedy. So what if this caused her to reach the curse she is living so far, and at the same time, unfortunately, in order to reach this huge knowledge, in order to reach this huge supernatural power, maybe she had to give something in return, and this something maybe was Faputa? I mean, what if Faputa was her personal sacrifice in order for her to reach Haku, in order for her to reach her Haku, that is this way to become immortal, or this way to become a supernatural, superhuman, something beyond human. Because by doing this, Faputa was cursed, and at the same time, she also was cursed as a contrapasso. So I think that was something crazy to explain. But at this point, I don't understand why Faputa was crying in that Reg's flashback, and she was saying, Reg. Was Reg part of this curse that happened? Was Reg part of Ueko's and Faputa's curse somehow? Did something happen, or Reg was forced to go away from them, and that's why Faputa was crying over there and saying, Reg, don't go, or Reg something? It's like as if Faputa didn't want to separate from him. Was that flashback happening before Faputa was transformed into the hollow she is right now, or not? Is Reg the key of what happened? So many questions, as you can see, but that was so amazing to see. The way in which she is explaining how they themselves created hell, and inside this hell they were themselves, because they could create it, and at the same time they were suffering for it. They were suffering for their own choices, because they were too greedy, they wanted to gain lots of knowledge, they wanted to become super important and have lots of authority. They were aiming to something that was not their level. They were aiming for something that they couldn't reach, but they were always trying to do so. And by trying to do so, they were cursed, because they were human beings, and they can't transform into something that is not human. They can't be not just too greedy, but even too presumptuous, let's say, to believe that they can become something supernatural or beyond human. As you can see, even by this narration of Ueko, you understand how selfish human beings are, how greedy they are, and that's why even these 7 deadly sins were created when they are used to describe human beings, because yes, we have all of them somehow, or we have some of them, but anyway, we are not able to have none of them, because even if it's one, we have it. So I think that's so great, because if you describe the sin, then you can also understand the curse that they are facing later. And in fact, as much as I was telling you, if you're greedy, the more you have, the more you want. And then the curse can be the opposite, as a contrapasso. That means that you reach the moment in which you don't have anything anymore, and you are cursed forever. So as you can see, Ueko was suffering a lot because of the decisions she was making, because she was believing that she could become beyond human. So yeah, at this point, was she a sage? Was she the third sage? Or as soon as Belaf and Vasukian knew that she was rebelling because she didn't want to create this village, because she understood that in that case they had to take these hollows, or they had to take kids and turned them into hollows, even I would have rebelled, right? So was she confined by Vasukian and Belaf, or was there the third sage, the real one, who confined her? Was there somebody else who confined her over there? Was that Reg, for example? Was that somebody else we don't know still? Because let me tell you, as much as I was telling you before, if she refused to be part of that project in order to create the village, maybe she was cursed somehow, because she was also separated from Faputa. But at the same time, maybe another sage arrived, the one who could replace her and create all these villages together with Vasukian and Belaf. So we needed to understand, was she still the third sage, or was she replaced by somebody else? That's really important too. But of course, everything is connected to Faputa's creation as a hollow, because she is the one who exploded together with that upper part of the village. So maybe Faputa represents the village itself. I mean, she is embodying all of the worst things that happened in order to create the village, and that's even super disgusting, we know that. But it's like as if when she was born as a hollow, she was creating this explosion, as if she was the result of others' sacrifices or of others' curses. We don't know, we still have to know in detail how this village was created, but that was already a great anticipation. But then we know that these hollow were kids, as much as I was saying already, and this is so disgusting, because even Ueko, by explaining everything that happened, she's saying that kids were transported over there, and of course they were transformed into hollows based on experiments, based on this will to reach a sort of knowledge. Is she involved in this will to reach some knowledge or not? I mean, she was rebelling to create the village. But what if by being so greedy and by reaching this immense power she wanted to reach, she was somehow part of them at the beginning, while she was also too innocent, because maybe she was promised for something, maybe she had another purpose in life, because we need to remember that she was burnt when she was young, before even reaching the abyss. She was treated like a beast, like a monster. I mean, maybe by becoming something beyond human, she wanted to find another goal in life that was impossible to be reached so far, etc., etc., etc. I mean, we needed to know if Ueko had a sort of intention, positive intention at the beginning, and then everything collapsed, or she was so greedy on purpose and she was the evil person who wanted to take an advantage on others, because it's also depending on this. Because maybe Ueko indirectly became somebody evil without even realize it, or because she was too blind to understand what was going on. It might happen, unfortunately. So I don't want to condemn Ueko completely. I mean, she made something crazy, something terrible for sure, but I don't want to give my judgment on her still. I mean, I prefer to know everything that happened since the beginning, and then I will make my final decision, my final thought. As I was telling you, she seems so nice, so that's why, should we trust her appearance and how she's approaching Riko, or is this a tactic, because by realizing who Riko is, she wants to get in touch with her so much, or she wants to trap her somehow, she wants to trick her somehow, just because she seems too kind, especially because now Ueko has a chance to come up from that sacrifice hole. So what if she is just using Riko to reach her final purpose against Belaf, against Vasukian, against another person or another white whistle, we don't know, etc., etc., etc. We shouldn't judge from the first appearance. We know that for many stories, and even in this case, it could be tricky. Because, look guys, at this point I'm thinking, what if even Faputa was tricked by this great and nice and kind appearance of Ueko? Because Ueko herself, is condemning herself as somebody evil. So what if Faputa was believing in her so much, she was always hugging her, she was afraid of others except for her, but what if she was the one who condemned her on purpose, and that's why Faputa became what she became? Anyway, Riko, by hearing this answer, she's saving her. I mean, she's releasing her, because the most important thing for Riko right now is to find her friends. So the purpose is good, even if Riko is a little bit innocent once again, because she doesn't understand that now she's releasing Ueko. And I mean, if Ueko was supposed to be somebody evil, maybe she is releasing somebody that was not supposed to be released, maybe. We also see the counter effects on Masan, so what the cuckoo was saying to her, it was right. The villagers can't go deep inside this sacrifice hole, while the people who are not part of this village can go and don't have any sort of counter effect, because there is not even the force field, for example, but also because by descending inside of it. They are not even Rico, for example, and all human beings coming from outside the village, they are not even attacked by these black shadows surrounding Ueko. And maybe they are not even attacked by Ueko herself. So that's why maybe Rico can be spared somehow, even if by reaching the end of the episode, okay, we understand that something terrible is happening to Rico. I really liked somehow the way in which Ueko is re-experiencing the discovery of the village. I mean, after the village was formed, was created, she didn't have the chance to understand how it changed, how it became. So I like that in Made in Abyss, you have this will of adventure, the will to discover, the will to explore, that it's amazing, that it's one of the most important things even in real life too. If you stop exploring, if you stop doubting, if you stop asking yourself things, you're dead. So the way in which Ueko is re-emerging from that black hole, and she's wearing new clothes, she's breathing, and she is looking around herself, and she's seeing how much everything changed, everything turned into something fine, as she says. But what if even this fine way to represent these villages is just appearance? Because deep inside there is darkness, there is hell, that it's even the representation of Ueko herself, because Ueko was represented since the beginning like the beautiful child as an appearance, but inside her eyes you could detect darkness. So wow, that's amazing, this contrast between inside, outside, surface, abyss, colors, darkness, purpose, curse. That's amazing. I wanted to compliment myself with the author of this story, because he is giving us the chance to explore the feelings, not just the abyss physically speaking, but even the abyss of the characters, because the more they descend, the more they are digging inside themselves, the more the darkness is increasing. And the question is, are you able to face darkness? Are you able to face your darkness and survive from it? That's incredibly awesome. Then Rico is reaching Belaf, but we know from Ueko that she can't meet Belaf. And in this case, why can't she meet Belaf? Is it because the three sages can't meet themselves anymore? I mean, even Vasukian maybe can't meet Belaf, and Belaf can't meet Ueko, Ueko can't meet Belaf, Ueko can't meet Vasukian. I mean, is it just because of Ueko that she can't meet the other two sages? Or is it a thing that is back and forth, that even these two sages can't meet her as well? But yeah, if she can't meet them, it's because maybe they cursed her and she doesn't want to be discovered because she escaped from that black hole. Maybe that's the most probable option. And in fact, Ueko, she's saying, they don't know I am here. They. Is she talking about the two sages, that means Belaf, Vasukian, or is she talking about somebody else that caused her reach that black hole once she protested? Maybe the creator of the Abyss, maybe the creator of these interference units? We don't know, but that's interesting that they refers to whom specifically. Okay guys, I turn on the light because outside there's bad weather, but at the same time because it's getting too long. I mean, this video will be super long. Anyway, going back to what I was telling you before, now we reached the moment in which Rico is meeting Belaf, but also Nana Ciemmitti. So the thing is that as soon as they entered, I mean, as soon as Rico and Masan entered this cave, let's say, in order to meet Belaf, when Belaf is seeing her, I mean, is seeing Rico, He's saying, "Ah, human child, so beautiful." As much as I was telling you before for the cook, because even the cook was saying, "I can't wait to put my hands on a human child and whatsoever." As you can see, human kids are the most important thing they can gain. And in fact, even Belaf was really surprised, but at the same time, it seemed that he wanted to gain Rico immediately, without even trading. And then Rico is understanding that Nanachi is there, and Belaf is explaining what happened. That means that unfortunately, Nanachi, finding Mitty, wanted to protect her, and in return, she was sacrificing her entire self to Belaf, so they could live over there forever and nothing else. And Belaf is even saying that he was absorbing Mitty throughout all this time. That means he was feeding himself by eating Mitty, and the good thing it was that Mitty was immortal and she couldn't even sense anything and she could regenerate, etc., etc., even if I'm pretty sure that Mitty was suffering quite a lot, but we know that Mitty can't answer questions, can't talk, and it was pretty easy at this point for Belaf by saying, I was absorbing her, but she's infinite, I mean, she's immortal, so she couldn't care, or she didn't even realize, probably. No, that's totally the opposite. Try to imagine to have your mouth shut and you can't reply, you can't rebel, you can't do anything else, and something else is eating you for eternity. That was something disgusting, disturbing, and of course it's part of Made in Abyss. And then Magikaja said something related to what I was telling you before, because he's saying, when I was looking at Nanachi's face, I thought that Nanachi found her Haku. And I think, yes, Haku is the most valuable thing, the most important thing in your life, something you could sacrifice your life in order to protect, it, her, or him. So I think that in this case, Nanachi was ready to sacrifice herself because there was nothing more important, more valuable than Mitty. For Nanachi, Mitty was a companion, was a fellow, but she was a fellow not just in good times, but especially in bad times. And when you're able to create a bond like that, it means that it's forever. So I can really understand Nanachi's face, I can really understand Nanachi's feelings when she was meeting Mitty after such a long time. I mean, after she burned her, she was able to find her again, and we understand, thanks to the explanation of Belaf, that was not Mitty. That's a copy of Mitty, because Belaf is saying that he was able to compensate part of himself in order to gain Mitty, a kind of Mitty, let's say, that even her soul was copied. It was exactly like Mitty, so we can understand that it's not Mitty, that it's not the Mitty that we saw that was burnt, etc., etc., because otherwise Belaf would have not said even the soul was copied. It means that it's not the original one, it's something that resembles exactly what Mitty was. But Nanachi believes that that's Mitty, and in fact she is ready to sacrifice her entire self to rescue her and to be with her forever and happy. But let me tell you, that's not happiness, of course. And we know that Nanachi now is under this smoke. I mean, she can't wake up anymore. That's crazy if you think about it. But thanks to Belaf, we also understood how this happened. I mean, I think that the Mitty that was burnt, she was burnt. Even if at this point it's incoherent to say that Mitty is immortal, because if Mitty is immortal, it means that even if she was attacked by the incinerator, she could survive. So when Belaf is saying that Bondorudo was coming to visit Belaf in one of his usual visits, so it makes you understand that Bondorudo was meeting Belaf so many times, and maybe by bringing kits or by bringing hollows that were supposed to be used in order to live in that village, in order to do some other things, I mean, in order to do disgusting stuff. I mean, in order to be eaten, because they were absorbed by Belaf, they were absorbed maybe even by Vasukian, we don't know, but maybe they were absorbed by these sages, or when there was the moment of the balancing thing, they were even cut into pieces by Weko, or by these shadows, black shadows that we saw under Weko. So anyway, it was like the point to reach of no return, and in fact this area is called the area of the unreturned, because they will never be able to escape from that place. But anyway, Bondorudo arrived over there, and he was bringing even Mitty at that time, and Belaf wanted to have her, because that's how they are. The more they have, the more they want. So even Belaf, as much as Weko was saying, he was really greedy, and we know that because since the moment they were descending the abyss, they wanted to discover the more they could, especially if this was regarding the Golden City. You know that the purpose was that, to find the Golden City that was impossible to be found because it was just a legend. So as you can see, but the fact that they found this Golden City, it was not enough. They wanted more. And in fact, they could gain more, because once they descended the abyss, they found that pinkish creature that had this white whistle. That's the creator of them as sages like that. I mean, or maybe Belaf, Vasukian, and even Weko at this point, by seeing that the pinkish creature, they understood that if they absorbed it, they could gain this knowledge that they imagined, and then maybe later they were just transformed and they were cursed and whatsoever. Or maybe they found that pinkish thing, they wanted to have it for themselves, but at that time they were asked to give something from themselves. So that means to become a sacrifice. And maybe the story went on like this, as we know. So we needed to understand that the pinkish creature they found as a white whistle, or anyway, it had some white whistle here, because I saw it, I stopped the frame and I saw that there was something white here. So what if this creature was stolen by them, and then there was this balancing thing? And I mean, this balancing thing was starting thanks to Weko, or there was even before she arrived over there? So many questions, guys. But anyway, we know that the more they went down the abyss, the more they had, the more they wanted. So of course, as soon as Belaf saw that Mitty was immortal, it means eternal food, because he could absorb Mitty forever. He wanted her, and the result is that Bondorudo, he is so smart and disgusting as always, he was refusing. So they made a sort of a pact. That means if you give me all these parts of your body, etc., because Belaf was already transformed, so he was not human anymore. But anyway, if you give me this, I give you this. And Belaf received this copied Mitty. So it makes you understand that Bondorudo was already technologically advanced, because as much as he was conducting experiments on Prushka, do you remember? He was able even to create a copy of Mitty, an exact copy of Mitty, even by emitting Mitty's soul as if she's a twin of Mitty. So that was pretty crazy. And Nanachi, by seeing how Belaf was absorbing Mitty throughout all that time, Nanachi couldn't handle this anymore, because she was understanding that Mitty was suffering instead, but she couldn't scream, she couldn't cry, she couldn't do anything because she was confined inside that sort of a hollow body that she has never wanted. And that's why Nanachi interrupted what Belaf was doing, and of course Belaf was ready to interrupt himself if Nanachi was able to give him something better, or if Nanachi was able to give something of herself to him. And in fact, Nanachi was sacrificing herself for the sake of Mitty. Another thing I liked is when Belaf is describing Mitty as a curse that has love as an intermediary. That's so beautiful, because we know that Mitty became like this because she wanted to sacrifice herself for the sake of Nanachi, and by loving Nanachi so much, Nanachi could gain that form and couldn't turn into a hollow. So it's like as if Mitty is sacrificing herself multiple times, because of course it's not happening just in the case of what happened to Nanachi, but it's happening even now, because the more she's absorbed, the more she has to feel pain, the more she can't rebel, the more she's sacrificed. So the behavior that Nanachi was having was totally understandable. I would have behaved the same, and I don't blame Nanachi, because in that moment, when you are facing the hardest time of your life, in which you see that friend that you have lost because it was burned thanks to the incinerator, and we still don't know if later it survived or not at this point, because of the immortality she has, but if you have the chance to regain the friend that you lost, and the only thing you have to do is just to sacrifice yourself to gain her back and to be happy together again, I think nobody of us would have refused this option. I think that Nanachi is quite understandable. But at the same time, now Riko wants to gain them back too. And we know that if she wants something, she has to donate something else. And the great thing, as much as I was telling you previously, is that Riko quite remembers Mitty. Of course she can, and it's impossible that she can't, because Mitty was the one who saved her, and how Riko was saved was because of Mitty, and because of Mitty embodying love as the intermediary, because Reg and Nanachi were hoping so much that Riko was saved, that thanks to her help and thanks to what she's embodying, Riko was saved. So Riko now wants to save both of them, especially Nanachi, because Nanachi is her fellow, and she can't go ahead without Nanachi, because Nanachi, as we said in the previous episode, she is essential. And she knows how to handle things, she knows how to heal them, she knows of many things, also because she's a hollow. We know now more than ever that the people who turned into hollow, they were experiencing hell. And in this adventure in which we are descending inside the abyss, we need a person who faced the hell already, and Nanachi is one of them. And even Reg is the other one, but Reg doesn't remember anything so far, so we can't rely on him for this reason. But anyway, now guys, we are reaching to the worst moment, because Riko is trying to deceive Belaf, because she wants to offer her hair, she wants to offer her nails, but it's not enough. So now Riko has to choose 3 options. But before reaching this point, I wanted to let you understand how Belaf suffered too, because in order to please his greedy behavior, he was able to cut the 724 arms that he had. I mean, once he's transformed like that, he was cutting 724 arms. So you can imagine how painful it was. He was even losing 50% of his body. and then he was even losing a portion of his sensory organs. I mean, he was turning into something that it's not even human anymore, of course. But that was the price to pay in order for his desire to gain Mitty. I mean, there was a moment, an instant moment, in which you see Belaf that is almost destroyed because he wants to gain Mitty, but it's like as if he also received that balancing thing because he wanted Mitty so much that he risked his life, his existence to gain her. And now, going back to what I was telling you 3 seconds ago, that is the last thing that I want to tell you, is to discuss together with you about what's going to happen to Rico now. Because Reg is not coming to save her in time, I guess. The only person who can save Rico, Nanachi, Mitty from Belaf is Weko at this point, because Weko is outside. And even if she can't go inside, maybe if she hears Rico screaming, I don't know, but definitely, or maybe yes, there is even Faputa who can come to save them. I don't know if Reg is coming in time, sincerely, or the worst option, Rico has to choose. And we know that Belaf gave her 3 options, as I was telling you: both eyes, both legs, and half of her innards. It's crazy, okay? Because no matter the options that Rico is going to choose, she's going to lose something of herself. And at this point, I want to ask myself, is Rico ready to sacrifice herself to save Nanachi and Mitty? The reason why I'm saying this is because Nanachi was ready to do what she was doing because she was reaching her Haku, in Majikaja's opinion. But Rico, did she reach her Haku? I don't think so, because Rico wants to reach her mother so badly that I think that her mother is her Haku. So is she going to accept? Or is she going to refuse? Because what kind of price do you have to pay in order to regain these friends you have? Can you give them the priority instead of what you really wanted to reach? Can you give them a part of yourself? Or are you able, Rico, to sacrifice yourself to gain them back? Because look, guys, Rico is still a human child, so she's a human being. And maybe by being a human being, she can be selfish to say, no, listen, I don't want to do or donate anything of myself because I still have to reach what's the most important thing to me, that is my mother, that is to meet with her. I don't know. I don't know what Rico wants to do, sincerely. I really don't know, because Nanachi for Rico is super important. But what if she's not choosing to help them in this case, but maybe in another way? Or what if she is asking Belaf if she can give one eye, one leg, instead of having 2 eyes and 2 legs? The reason why I'm saying this is because if we take an option after the other one, if Rico is going to lose her 2 eyes, she is not able to see the end of the abyss. She is not able to see what's deep inside the abyss because she's going to turn blind. And of course, her main reason as a cave raider was to explore the abyss, to see with her own eyes how the abyss would look like. And she wanted to reach the bottom of it because she had to narrate how the abyss is. And she wanted even to reach her mom, to see her again. So I think that she's not going to choose her eyes, otherwise she's not able to see anything. As an explorer, she needs her eyes. If she's refusing to have both of her legs, she can't walk anymore, so she can become an obstacle to others, and she has to find a way to survive without legs. Can you imagine, guys? I mean, that's disgusting. I think in the next episode we are going to cry if something like this is going to happen, or I don't know, but I can't imagine to lose my legs. I think that People who have lost their legs, they feel so incomplete. They feel as if they are always a burden to others. So I don't think Riko wants to be a burden to others, because she always wants to explore things first, and she's not scared at all, and she always wants to go first, to explore, to discover, to investigate, to analyze, to understand. That could be hard too. What about the innards? Oh my, that's disgusting, because she can't eat anymore. I mean, she can't eat as before. She can't have the pleasure to live as before. And even if Belaf is saying, I will be sure not to let you die, okay, thank you so much. But in the case, no matter what Riko wants to choose, she is going to be permanently destroyed, and she will never be able to recover. So that's why I'm saying, when human beings are facing these three choices, what are they going to choose? Because you know that even in the case of hollows, they lost their bodies, but their soul is intact. I mean, it's not removable, it's still there. So is Riko going to lose her body no matter what, because anyway her soul will always stay next inside of her? And that's why I don't know what she's going to choose, or if she has to choose, because maybe something else will happen. Maybe Weko is going to interrupt all these, maybe Faputa is going to interrupt all these, we don't know. But I'm not ready to see Riko destroyed, because this thing is super disgusting, and I can't, I don't want to imagine them, let me tell you. Okay guys, thank you so much for the support. Thank you for joining me in this long, super long video, and hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned, because next week I come back with episode 6 of Made in Abyss season 2. In the meantime, feel free to subscribe to the channel and click on the notification bell. Bye guys, see you in the next video.